So this is a video on Venruki's channel. What's wrong with WoW PvP from an average player's perspective? Venruki reacts, and the original video is What's Wrong with WoW PvP by Erradic Gaming. You guys see that down there? Good stuff, buddy. All right, let's. I wanna see Ven's reaction. I like hearing what my WoW homies think about this kind of stuff too. All right, let's see what's going on.
It's an 8-minute video from Erradic Gaming. It's called "What's Wrong
8 minute,
with
get right out of
PvP
business.
from a hard-stuck duelist."
Hard-stuck duelist.
From the viewpoint of someone who's been hard-stuck duelist for about 6 seasons now. Before we get into the video, I kind of want to go over my background so you.
Oh no, 6 seasons, dude. I shouldn't laugh at this, but what's going on here, man? What's happening? Dragonflight, 4 seasons of Shadowlands, and Dragonflight. I mean, he's pretty new. I mean, I don't know. I should not laugh. It's just the way he said it. He looks so sad.
Duelist. Let's see.
From the viewpoint of someone who's been hard-stuck duelist for about 6 seasons now.
Oh man.
The video, I kind of want to go.
Dog, I mean, whew. I'm not trying to be mean, but man, that's a grind. He's stuck with it too. I gotta respect that. So what's going on here, man? What are you dealing with that's keeping you down in the dualies?
For my background,
I'm listening.
so
I'm listening.
Okay. What kind of player I am and why I'm qualified to speak on this. Throughout my experience in WoW, I've been into PvP every once in a while, but never anything serious until Shadowlands Season 1. I saw the PvP Elite playset, and I knew I had to have it.
Turn it up? Okay, I'll turn it up. Just give me one moment.
I was wondering about the same thing.
For my first 1800.
Oh my, Ven actually uses his thing. Oh my gosh, he actually uses his Go XLR. Quaylen, my editor for the long form content, probably hates me for still not using this thing. I have it, but I never use it. Yes, but Ven's actually doing the dang thing. Good job, Ven.
I was able to achieve it in 2s. I played the rest of Shadowlands mostly focusing on 2s and was able to get Duelist in Season 2 through 4 of Shadowlands.
How's that volume?
I never really thought about Gladiator, although I always thought the mounts were cool. And Season 4 of Shadowlands is the first time I dipped my toes into 3v3 rated arenas.
Okay.
All right, my guess for why he hasn't been able to get 2400, I don't know what he's gonna say. My guess is he doesn't have consistent teammates. I think if you have consistent teammates, you 100% can get 2400. If you've been playing for like 7 seasons, we'll see what he identifies as his struggle. But my guess is if you have consistent teammates playing a half decent comp, you should be able to do it.
Get very high.
Absolutely should if you have a good
teammates during that season. And is the first time I dipped my toes into 3v3 rated arenas.
Okay.
I didn't get very high, but I met my current teammates during that season. And we all decided that Season 1 of Dragonflight was the first time we were actually going to push rating and the Gladiator title.
Great.
Now, before I get into what is wrong with PvP, I kind of want to go over what I think is right with PvP. And
okay, start off a little nice, you know? They call that the feedback sandwich.
Oh?
You know what I mean? You want to have a piece of bread. That is a very positive thing.
Okay.
And then you get into the meat and potatoes of the things you don't like. That's the
on your meat and potato sandwich. That actually sounds good. Oh my god. I swear I eat before stream, but I'm always hungry. A meat and potato sandwich? I think the bread would get a little soggy. But if you had like a sandwich where the bread was like kind of crust on the outside and it was kind of like a hard bread, a meat and potato sandwich could actually be really good.
Cheese and the meat, and then you end it with another piece of compliment bread. That's how you give feedback.
Yeah, Ven's not even vegan anymore, so he's been thinking about the meat and potato sandwich too.
Play this mode, even though there's a lot of negativity.
Crispy potatoes, yeah, like a hash brown in there, on like a hoagie bun. Oh man, that's exactly what I was thinking, Alex. Yeah, like a hash brown. Woo wee.
Surrounding the game mode.
That'd be good.
PvP in World of Warcraft has become my favorite PvP game mode in any game.
Oh man, it's true. It's the best.
Warlock, Feral.
Games are complex and fun, and
not the worst comp, but PvP has been decently balanced. Runs over that.
Of course, there's been crazy periods of time where certain specs just dominate the ladder, but over the course of Dragonflight, I think every class has one or more specs they can play, and it's not just one comp.
That's a boomy. Sorry,
the ladder. Rated arenas are even an easy mode to get in and out of.
Boomy lock. Oh, that's actually
for 2s
annoying.
and 3s,
yeah.
You can queue for a match, play a 5, maybe 10 at max minute game.
Gotta get those healing streams down, bro.
I don't play Wrestler Shaman,
you can go.
But he does have 2 of them.
Trying to find a group for a keystone that may or may not end in an hour. And the worst case scenario, if you have to leave in the middle of an arena, is one game loss. There really is nothing more fun in World of Warcraft than playing rated 3s with people that you enjoy.
I agree.
That can probably
True.
be said about any of the game modes in World of Warcraft. But for me, rated 3s is really where it's at. That being said, I kind of want to go into what I think is wrong with rated PvP, even though I don't really have a lot of answers on how it can be fixed. The first thing I want to talk about is season to season progression. Like I said, Dragonflight was the first time I decided I wanted to get into...
Talk about sandwiches again? I don't know how this happens. Every React video, I start talking about sandwiches. I did. I had like 2,000 calories of food before the stream today, and I'm still thinking about, crispy hash brown sandwich with some meat in there. That could be some Gain City. That's a one-way ticket right there to Gain City.
3v3 arenas.
Don't turn it back.
And we were amped. It was going to be the start of the expansion, which is usually the most inflated, but Solo Shuffle was also being released. So the first inflated, but Solo Shuffle, I decided I wanted to get into 3v3 arenas, and we were amped. It was going to be the start of the expansion, which is usually the most inflated, but...
Yes, the start of the expansion, the first season of the expansion is likely when the most players are going to play, so ratings can get pretty high, and there's lots more like title spots available. That's true. It is not the most inflated right off the bat, though, so just keep that in mind. It only gets inflated at the end. Steak or brisket? Oh, yeah.
Also being released. So the first season of Dragonflight, rated 3s had dropped dramatically from what we saw in Shadowlands season 1s and 2.
Really?
It was fine. We still did a good job pushing. We got, I can't even remember, but it was around 2K in our first season. Nice. But as Dragonflight went on, participation in the game mode went down.
You scooped all three of those guys.
Improving season to season, our rating was not reflecting that. In season 2, we played a more meta comp, and we worked really, really hard on it, and we ended up with a rating of about 2150, if I recall correctly. We had improved drastically from season 1 to 2, and all we had was about 50 points of CR to show for it. Take that on to season 3, I was constantly looking for more experienced players to help me with my gameplay. I even got VOD reviews from Sea-Doo, who drastically helped me improve my game. With that being said, playing with the same players, we never really...
You think do you think that was Frost, Devoker? I mean, that's sort of Frost Devastation Evoker is kind of meta, but it's also kind of like lame. Like you just kind of play for one setup and then run away the whole time. The Resto Shaman,
really got higher than what we had gotten in season 2. This lack of progression, season to season, is very demoralizing, even when you know what the cause of it is, because you know you're improving at the game, but the numbers don't show it, and the numbers are what the rewards are tied to.
I suppose so.
That's true. I've been saying this, guys. I've been saying this for such a long time.
Yeah, Ven has that one tweet about his Resto Shaman where he was like 2,500, got better, and he's like 2,100 stuck now. Yeah. You're 1,600 fighting people who are 2,400. Maybe like right now in the season, yeah, it's possible. You're not fighting people who are 2,400 like a couple weeks into the season though. But yeah, things are super compressed, and you might be their grace games. You know what I mean? Like, because the first like couple games that you play are against teams that are way lower than you, just to make sure that you actually belong at that MMR. So if you just get run over by somebody doing their grace games, I mean that's just kind of part of the deal.
Like, you guys. This is a problem, okay? This is my own experience, okay? Playing a lot of healers in Season 1, and I don't care who you are, this is a problem. If you think this is not a problem, you're delusional.
I'm listening.
Okay?
I'm listening.
I played healers in Season 1. I played Presovoker. I played Resto Shaman. I played Disc Priest. And every single one of those healers, I got over 2,400. I got Elite, and I got all the rewards. And as the seasons went on, going into Season 2 and going into Season 3, I improved. I got better. I'm way better at Presovoker in Season 3 than I was in Season 1. Way better. And this season, despite playing thousands of games, I actually could not get over 2,400.
Fenn's washed. You heard it from his own mouth. He's washed up. Put 1,000 games, hard stuck. I mean, you hate to see it, honestly. You just really do. I mean, these things happen. You know, people get older, their reflexes slow, they get focused on like getting married and stuff. It even happens to world champions like Venruki. You get old, you know? Things change. Your hands aren't as fast as they used to be, you know what I mean? It just is what it is. It happens to the best of us, man. Yeah. I mean, shoot, dang, man. What do you got? You just start thinking about meat and potato sandwiches all day long, can't focus on arena? I mean, it is what it is. even happens to Ven. Shoot.
I got close. I was 1 game away. I got up to like 2390, but I actually couldn't get it. I played thousands. I'm so much better than I was in season 1, and I literally couldn't get it.
Well, I mean, well, you know, I mean, shoot. It's in your hands, man. You just gotta clutch up, I guess. Yeah, kids yelling, wife nagging. Yeah. Hey, I'm trying 2390. Can I get some peace and quiet in this house for once in my life? Put food on the table for this family trying to get 2400 solo shuffle. Jeez Louise. Where's my meat and potato sandwich? It's tough.
Ben is delusional. That's called getting old. Dude, Foxy. I was playing against your healers, man. Playing against you with the same MMR.
That's funny.
Hi.
No, it's just.
Yo, Matt, thank you for the prime.
I think
that is a big problem, guys.
Down and
not only are
up.
you not
Truly.
gaining the same rewards, like that's a really shit feeling, right? You get elite,
tough.
and then it just feels like it's impossible to get. And this isn't just my own experience. This person as well is like, I played the whole expansion. I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like we're improving, and you just can't go up in rating. It's kind of weird.
Tough.
And I think it's a problem. It's a big problem in a lot of ways. It's like inflation is tied to player activity.
Nobody linked up to
Venruki.
I repeat, nobody linked up to
Venruki. The whole reward structure needs to be redone. I really do. I think the way it works right now is no good, and I think people making a bunch of alts make it even worse. I think over time, with more people, alts being more accessible, which I do think overall is a really good thing, alts being more accessible has created a huge problem with the current reward structure.
It seems to me that I don't know if MMR was artificially deflated. It's just probably just people weren't playing as much, and there wasn't a compensation mechanic to help MMR remain healthy and help things stay sort of in line with how it was before. And so without participation, MMR didn't go up as high, and so things are a little bit deflated. That would be my guess. But there could have been other things too. Could have been other factors. But I mean, participation drives, a lot of positive things. And so whenever there are mechanics that encourage participation, like having PvEers have some kind of incentive to do PvP, that's usually really good for the PvP ladder. And without things like that, I mean, the numbers just may not have been hitting enough for really things to inflate properly. But there were people who sort of thought that MMR was like artificially deflated or things like that. But yeah, not sure.
And I think it needs to be addressed. They need to redo it. They need to make it more modern. And I think it would be good because the actual gameplay is fun. I actually like playing. Of course, I love it.
You know what's interesting? I don't think this is a violation of NDA, but I do mention this from time to time, that there was a big summit that we did with a bunch of PvPers who came together at Blizzard HQ and gave a lot of feedback on not like game balance, but like content and the way things should be done. So the reward structure that we have now looks a lot like things that we suggested. I think that Blizzard did actually a really good job of putting in a ton of the things that we talked about. And so sort of unlocking transmog periodically, like as you leveled up, was one of those things. It being 1800 is like, pretty achievable, I would say. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these things, like solo shuffle in general, that didn't come from the summit directly, but like that's something that came from the community. They've done a lot of things to try to say, yeah, cool, we like those ideas, we'll put those into the game. And so the reward structure that we have now is like a result of the things that we asked for. But if it needs to change, then we need to provide that too, perhaps. But we'll see. Yeah,
a lot of people love it, but it doesn't feel good when you can't make any progress in the game.
No gains is no fun.
The
That's
second
true.
problem I have with rated arenas is how important it is to be playing a meta comp. Now, you'll have random players who say that you don't need to play the meta to climb rating, and it's all about your individual skill levels.
Complete bullshit.
I was waiting for that. I think I was going to ask you guys, have you ever played a non-meta comp in Arena? Like those of you guys who play like a good amount of Arena and like, I don't know, your way around the Arena. Have you guys played like a non-meta comp versus playing a meta comp? It's completely different. Like, and that's just how it is. Like, I don't know, man. There is definitely a huge difference between playing a meta comp and not. Meta comps like give you a chance against most things. Playing non-meta, you just like lose every game. It's actually insane. And it wasn't always like that either. And I don't know how to fix that in particular, especially because there's classes that, you know, a lot of classes have a lot of similar tools, right? Like most classes have stuns, most classes have some sort of like hard CC, and soft CC, like that can break on damage. You know, they have mobility, they have interrupts, they have a lot of different things. But still, there are comps that just sort of all go well together, and it definitely feels bad to play ones that don't have that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah, Mortal Strike effects, yeah, interesting.
% bullshit. Playing the best comps is all that matters.
It's actually true.
It's literally like, oh yeah, you can just play whatever and succeed. It's not true.
Yeah,
like it's not true. You want to play the best comps, and when you play the best comps, you are wildly more successful.
What's interesting though is I kind of feel like in Kata, when I first started playing, you could kind of play whatever and it would be fine. It's going to be very interesting to see if that's actually true now, because I don't think that was actually true in Wrath. Like classic Wrath, it was like you only saw TSG, Thunder, and then what was it? Like Lock, Shaman, Paladin. You only saw that. Maybe Rogue Mage. You only saw those comps. Everything else was just trash, right? And so you might have felt like back then when everybody was noobs, and maybe like you were a noob like I was in Kata, like you could play whatever and it was probably fine. But part of it might just be people are just better at the game. And this is an argument that's made a lot for a lot of different things that are going on in WoW. People are just better at the game, and so we know more about the game, and so the meta sort of more like sharply gets defined, and people play to that. And I feel like that's probably what's going to happen in Kata. So I don't know if when I say it didn't used to be like that, if it actually didn't used to be like that because you could actually just mix and match classes and it would be fine, or because we were just bad and I was just bad and I wasn't playing at a very high rating where those things were like super like defined. Trying to make KFC work, but KFC was actually good in Mists of Pandaria. That's the thing, and KFC was actually good in Kata, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, especially in threes.
But I can tell you for a fact, I've meta chased a little bit throughout Dragonflight, and literally playing a meta class or meta spec can increase your rating by 100 to 200 points. I didn't mention this earlier, but I played Warrior up until Dragonflight, and because of solo shuffle queue times, I switched to Healer. I played a Resto
Warrior
Shaman
brother
in Season 1, and I switched to a Holy Paladin after the rework in Season 2, and was able to completely surpass my Shaman.
Axel was playing Feral Asa Rogue and beating Boomy Metacomps 2 days ago. Yeah, but okay, that doesn't just because
Feral is broken, Asa Rogue is broken, guys. No surprise there. All right, Feral and Asa both busted beyond belief. Triple B busted. All right, no surprise there. However, this guy used to play Warrior. He knows what's up. It's interesting though.
As a comp isn't popular doesn't mean it's not good.
Also true.
So like somebody playing some random comp, I'll give you a perfect example, okay? A perfect example.
Before he gives this example, I want to ask a question. Is it not the case that playing like meta stuff is the best in any game? And playing meta is gonna increase your success regardless? Like, I know in the situation of like League of Legends, like you can kind of have a one trick of like a not popular champion and do pretty okay, but generally the strong champions will have a higher win rate by quite a bit. And like playing like even in like Plunderstorm, like you still, if you play like Slicing Winds, Slappy Fish, Stealth, or some movement skill, and the shield, like you're probably gonna be more successful. I feel like a meta developing is just one of those things that just happens. But I guess the fix is to try to, you know, bridge the gap a little bit. I'm not sure what the exact fix is. People always figure stuff out, you know? And playing the things that are effective, whether it's one particular build or a composition, will generally lead to more success. I mean, I don't know. What that's kind of tricky, huh? And the moment that champion in League is nerfed, you drop like a brick. Yeah, it's tricky. Does playing meta make you a better or worse player because you need meta class to win? I would say that playing a meta class could give you a better understanding of like a higher level of play, even if you don't necessarily, even if you're like carried by class a little bit. If you still see what it's like, you could become a better player by playing at a higher rating and seeing what it's like up there, even if like, you know, before. But also, I mean, it's like what makes you a better player, like knowing what's going on definitely makes you a better player and like having a better understanding of WoW. But again, I think you're going to get that from playing at a higher rating with better players. But I mean, if you're playing something that's effective, like you're playing a good class with a good build and a good comp, like you are succeeding at the game, even if you're like maybe you could still improve your awareness or things like that. I don't know. I think you are still getting better at the game if you're taking advantage of the sort of advantages the game provides for you to succeed, right? Because it's like someone who, like, imagine this, someone who plays like a good comp and gets rank 1, I mean, versus someone who plays a bad comp and doesn't get rank 1. It's like, yeah, well, the player who didn't play a good comp and didn't get rank 1 is still a better player than the other guy, but the other guy has a rank 1 title and that dude doesn't. So like, what are we going for here, right? Are we trying to like have this idea like, I'm a better player, I have better awareness and better responses, but I also don't have the title that this guy has because he made a choice about how he decided to play the game, right? So I don't know. I think that playing to the meta to some extent is a part of playing the game, right? I guess this isn't like directly online with the discussion, but it's like people who are like, yeah, you have healers in battlegrounds. Like, well, yeah, I want to win the game. Like, I'm trying to win. I'm trying to have fun and succeed at the same time. So I'm setting myself up for success, right? Like, it could be satisfying to get rank 1 playing a crappy comp. I don't know, like Fury Warrior, Arcane Mage, Mistweaver Monk, for example, in Fearless Season. You know, anybody who got rank 1 playing that comp is obviously a god among men at Warrior, just hypothetically. But, I mean, it also is fun to play a good comp and succeed. And it's annoying to play a bad comp and just fail because of your comp, right? So, just is what it is.
Example is in Season 3 of Shadowlands, I played Windwalker Outlaw Resto Shaman, okay?
Sounds
I was
busted.
the only Windwalker monk to get Cosmic.
Sounds busted.
Gladiator. Nobody else played that comp, so you could say it wasn't meta, but it was completely OP. The comp was insanely OP.
Sounds
and we
like
just
it.
steamrolled everyone. You got the easiest rank 1 I've ever gotten. Just farming everybody. So just because a comp isn't popular doesn't mean it's not good.
You mean you should not be able to play the class you mean all should play meta? Not necessarily. It's just like, don't be mad if you are trying to give yourself a special challenge by intentionally playing something that's not as good. So I'm gonna play Warrior regardless, but it's not like, and of course if Warrior's bad, I'm gonna want to like advocate for it getting buffed. But if all you want to do is succeed, then you have avenues to do that in different classes, I guess, right? And is that a bad thing? But I mean, of course, if Warrior's bad, I want it to get buffed. And you'll hear me whining about it every single day until it does. So I feel you on that too.
Because of how good they were in the meta at the time. I think this is probably a problem with any PvP related game, but I think it's still worth mentioning here.
And a lot of the issue here is how much communication we get from developers on class balancing and how often PvP gets tuning. PvPers feel absolutely in the dark when it comes to changes in PvP. The community can be outcrying for obvious changes that need to be made, and there's just no feedback. To me, a healthy meta is one that gets changes regularly, and that's just not being done in WoW.
What's up, Dino?
Next up is the button and keybind bloat. Now, I actually think this is what makes PvP fun, is that it's such a complex game mode, and there's so many options on how you can play it. But on my Shaman, I currently have 45 or more keybinds, and I could probably create more if I wanted to be more effective.
Shaman is a pretty utility-rich class, isn't it? They do have a lot of stuff going on. I think I have a lot of keybinds, but some of them are redundant. But then of course, if you made like Arena 1, 2, 3 macros for like all of your CC, and like, you know, you're a healer, you make like, you know, teammate 1 and 2 keybinds or whatever, that's a lot. But healers, I think, are also like, it's like the hardest, healing in PvP is probably like the hardest job in WoW at all, so it's kind of crazy. We should get better at PvP communication. Yeah, they used to do that. Remember, I don't know if you were around back then, Halinka used to tweet about it a lot, and they were like, they like made him stop doing that because people, even if people got a lot of communication, they'll just use it as a chance to be like toxic, unfortunately. That's fine too. If we got like blue posts on the weekly, like, hey, we're aware of this, we're keeping an eye on it, right? We're not immediately nerfing Rogue, but we're keeping an eye on it. Then yeah, you know, I feel you. I do think communication overall be better, even if it's like official communication. Maybe just not like, you know, Twitter, right? Which you didn't say that. I'm just kind of thinking both sides. But yeah.
This is an insane amount of buttons to have to press. And most other PvP game modes have maybe 6 to 10. I think World of Warcraft is just a little bit too complex to achieve.
Well, that isn't necessarily okay. So
other games are for noobs.
He is right. You can have a lot of keybinds. You can even have way more keybinds. And One of the reasons why there's so many keybinds is because of the Arena 1, 2, 3 and Focus functionality, right?
Definitely.
So instead of just having Polymorph, you have Polymorph, Focus Polymorph, Polymorph Arena 1, Polymorph Arena 2, Polymorph Arena 3.
Yeah, mages, man.
And same with Counterspell. Counterspell, Focus.
Yeah, mages have so many abilities. You have to be a genius to play a mage, man. Oh my gosh. Isn't that right, mage players? You guys are so much smarter than everybody else. Isn't that true?
Counterspell?
I think so.
Counterspell Arena 1, Counterspell Arena 2, Counterspell Arena 3. Now, I don't use all those keybinds, but there are people that do. So if you want to be like absolutely optimal,
it's true.
And just like a rep paladin, like as a rep paladin, you have, you know, your sanctuary, your whatever, your blessing of sanctuary that removes people from crowd control.
Heroic,
that's one
gamers.
keybind, right? That's one ability. But
it is what it is.
You can also be optimal and use party 1 sanctuary, party 2 sanctuary, party 3 sanctuary. You know what I mean? So the complication comes from the fact that you can interact. Like, you used to not be able to do that. You couldn't.
I do have intervene party 1 and party 2 macros for solo shuffle, but then for actual arena, I give my teammates the special treatment. I'll actually put their names in my healer veen macro and partner veen macro. I haven't put their names in there. I give them the deluxe treatment.
Bind Arena 1, 2, 3 stuff. You could only use just regular target, and then they added the focus frame, and then they added the Arena 1, 2, 3 functionality, and players get better. They want to be more optimal, and that's
I think
one
1,
of the
2, 3
reasons
is
why there's
snappy,
so
but
many
I just never have gotten into it. Too Zug, I guess.
Attract new players, which I really think is the root of the problem. Kind of along that same vein are add-ons. Again, this might be something that certain players might argue you don't need to play the game mode, but add-ons in World of Warcraft are so powerful. Playing PvP.
Yeah, there's another thing. It's like, you don't need to have, you know, arena. You don't need to have target Arena 1, 2, 3, focus Arena 1, 2, 3 to play the game, but you're at a big disadvantage if you don't. It's just like add-ons. You don't need add-ons. You really don't. But somebody that
I'm gonna hold on a second.
That is using add-ons, using party ability trackers and Omni CD and plate buffs and big debuffs and weak auras and everything is gonna have a big advantage on you. So it's like an arms race.
So I do not disagree with that, but I would say to start doing PvP in WoW, you absolutely do not need every single add-on telling you all this information that you're like not going to pay attention to or not even know how to make use of. So to start PvP, I don't think you need many add-ons to get going. However, once you get to the point in PvP where it's like, oh man, I want to know about DRs, or oh man, I want to know when this guy has kidney shot available, or oh man, I need to know when these guys are using some kind of offensive or defensive cooldown, or I need to know when they have a defensive cooldown popped. Like, once you start sort of feeling that and thinking that to yourself, that's when you need to get the add-on, right? But just having the information just thrown at you before you even know how to process or make use of it, you don't need to do that. You should just get into PvP and get started. But in the situation of somebody like being stuck at a certain rating and they're like, I need to know this information. I want to know when they're on DR so I don't mess up DRs, or I want to know when this rogue has evasion popped, even if I'm not paying that close of attention, so I don't like disarm into evasion or something like that. Like, then those are the situations where that could help for sure. And I think add-ons giving you more information is very helpful. Knowing when cooldowns are popped or they're going to be available soon is good information to have, but you don't need it right off the bat, at least.
You don't necessarily need it, but you pretty much need it.
Without weak auras is just like shooting yourself in the foot. Knowing when the enemy team has used offensive or defensive cooldowns, as well as knowing when your teammates have used offensive and defensive cooldowns, is so important to the game mode. The base UI is very weak in what it shows you. Now, I don't think you just need to remove all add-ons in World of Warcraft in general, but considering every PvP player has a completely different experience based on their UI setup, it doesn't feel like a very fair game mode.
Pretty sad that part of the skill in WoW nowadays is how you utilize the information a third-party program gives you. No, really, it really is. Like, I don't even think you can't even argue it. Like,
there's a lot of games where your attention and how many things you can pay attention to is part of the game. Like StarCraft, like, not only is your APM important, like how many things you're able to do throughout the course of the game, but also like the amount of things you're able to pay attention to, even if the information is given to you, to actually like attend to it is still pretty important. So you could have all these weak auras yelling at you, but if you don't like if you don't actually have the practice to pay attention to frames and be aware of these things, it's still not going to do anything. But yeah, I mean, I think that's actually kind of cool that you can customize your UI to give yourself the information you're curious about. Even like where in the screen that you want to get it is actually kind of neat. And I think it would be possible, but maybe kind of hard for Blizzard to do it. But I guess the other thing is, like, some people wouldn't want that much information even on their screen, even if they were like trying to play Arena. They're like, this is too much, or I don't want this, or this isn't where I want it to be. So the fact that add-ons give you the chance to customize what information is being shown to you and where is actually kind of neat, in my opinion. But I definitely can see it being a potential like subject and a potential example of barrier for entry.
It's nuts, man. I agree.
Not because
I kind of like this guy's UI though.
Get, you know, the best add-ons and setup, but even as an experienced player, I'm learning about certain weak wars or add-ons every day that would.
No troll that the base UI has wrong information and timers is massively bad for new players. Dude, the freaking okay, you guys. Maybe they fixed this. I don't think they did though. I'm pretty sure that the Arena add-on in the game still doesn't have the 90-second cooldown trinket tracker for Arena. I'm pretty sure that's still not updated. It shows the wrong cooldown for the PvP trinket of a healer on the base UI.
And you can go in and adjust those on your own. You can go into Omnibar, and instead of having Warbreaker be on a 45-second cooldown, which it almost never will be, you can go in there and put on like a 35-second cooldown, and you can be pretty sure that like, oh, Warbreaker is probably up because of anger management and things like that. But you can do that kind of change on your own, right?
That's crazy, man. What? It's the UI. How could that be wrong?
Somebody's got to go in there and update it.
How could it be wrong for such a long time, too? The whole season? What?
It's kind of a random thing.
Gameplay, and when you don't know what you don't,
Someone's got to go in there and fix it.
It's hard to implement those changes. The next issue with World of Warcraft arenas is how important experience
I'm clocked in, yeah.
is. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a hard-stuck duelist, and both of my arena partners
Dude, quit
are as
saying
well.
that about yourself, man. Quit calling yourself a hard-stuck duelist, bro. You're not. You got this, man. Ever since you started playing Resto Shaman, you gotta let that warrior spirit out, bro. You're not a hard-stuck duelist, bro. Cut it out.
We've been duelists for 6+ seasons, and trying to climb
it's been working for him too, hasn't it?
Duelist players is extremely hard. I could be wrong, but I don't believe there's a single new gladiator any season recently that has played only with other players who are duelist or less experienced. And I can also.
You think that's true,
I
Ben?
would have to verify that. I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, neither do I.
I think it's probably a very low number, and maybe none at all, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah, there's definitely some gladiators, ret warriors, and demon hunters, right?
Come on, bro. Some gladiator mages and windwalkers out there too, Ben. Some gladiator healers out there, Ben. But no, that's actually really neat, is that like if people have never had PvP experience and grind up PvP experience together, that is actually probably fairly rare, but also cool. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people who've been playing WoW at a high rating have been playing WoW for a long time. It's true.
For sure.
6 seasons? I don't know.
I say this, that when I've played with previous gladiators, that the games are just so much smoother. We've been working our butt offs as the hard-stuck duelist to reach that next level, but there's just a certain level of game knowledge that comes from having the experience of being gladiator before that's hard to replicate. How can 3 duelist players expect to get to the next level when, while they're improving their game, so are all the other previous gladiators and multi-glads? I don't think it's absolutely impossible,
tough, bro.
but it's definitely very,
People
very
get better
hard.
at stuff,
We're
though,
having
man.
to beat multi-glads constantly, and this starts as early as 1900 that you see people on current season.
You're 1800? Your 1800 is getting farmed by... It's so insane, man. I'll never...
Dude, when I think Ben's gonna tell a story too. My first season ever of playing World of Warcraft, I was in a guild called Dar McTire, and like a couple weeks into this, maybe the first week of the season, they were like, everybody in the guild, if you don't get 2K and 3s, you are kicked out of this guild. And so I was like brand new to the game. I played like Resto Shaman TSG with like a DK that never talked and a Shaman that just raged like crazy. And I was like, I gotta get 2K, bro. I gotta get 2K. So I played Fury Ret. And with I'm pretty sure it was my boys Wampa and Raboku Link. And we played Fury Ret. And we were dunking on like like Gladiator WLS or RLS is what it was. We were dunking on like RLS, WLS, all these. We were like, oh my gosh, they're gladiators, and we were going in there and one-shotting people as Fury Ret. So I mean, hey, 1700 XP dunking on glads the first season that they're playing. These things happen, man. These things happen. I got 2K. I got to stay in the guild. Became an officer, and the rest is history. All right. So it can be done.
Never forget.
Can be done. Watch Ventil, same story.
I'm trying to remember who I was playing with. I think I was playing with. Was I playing with you, Born Good? I think I was playing with Born Good and Isometrics. Oh, it might have been me and Ferrix. It was me, Ferrix, and like Nick. Yeah, I think it was me, Ferrix, and Nick.
Okay.
So Ferrix is, whatever. Lots of rank 1 titles and solo shuffle and 3s. We had Big Velkov Dam, who's multi rank 1, myself. And then our opponents. This is a 3v3 game we played. Our opponents were like Magnus, Ceralium, and I forget who the healer was, but it was another rank 1 healer. And we were 2100. And this was like a month before the season ended. A month before the season ended, we had 6 rank 1s. Just
are you guys on all
2100?
Damn, all 6 of those guys fell off. What the heck?
In glad mounts
Jeez Louise!
To reach even 2400. I would have been ecstatic.
All 6 of those guys washed up.
Closer and closer
2100.
Shoot. Rating range right now, you're facing AWC competitors sometime and people whose gameplay is just out of this world. I don't know what Blizzard's idea of 2400 is, but to me, you shouldn't be facing rank 1s until well after the 2400 rating range. And it seems like MMR is the main culprit here for a lot of these issues. But what I think it really boils down to is getting new players to the game mode.
I think that's a big part of it.
Have to.
I think he nailed it right there.
Have to get new
more
players
people to play.
It's the best thing you can do.
Shuffle has basically killed
WoW
any
on the Game
incentive
Pass,
to queue
bro.
rated 3s because looking for a group to play with in LFG and queuing sessions just to have them end after 1 loss is like pulling
ultra
teeth.
lame.
Yep.
Even though DPS queue times in solo shuffle are 30 minutes sometimes, and sometimes even longer, it's the better route to go because you're getting a for sure 6 games as long as nobody leaves.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think the MMR system is broken. I think what the problem is there's not enough people playing. And
they absolutely are playing the Frost DK Devastation Evoker.
And something has to be done to attract new players to the game mode.
People.
Now, am I beating a dead horse? Maybe. The future rated 3s just might not be a thing. We've got...
What was that cut? Dude, these cuts are insane.
To the game mode. Now, am I beating a dead horse? Maybe.
Rip.
The future rated 3s.
The frick was that, man?
Just the best stuff is added. Don't worry about it.
Be a thing. We've got game modes like Plunder Storm, Solo Shuffle, and now the new rated Battlegrounds solo queue coming out. And I think all of these things hurt rated 3 queues. It's a super demoralizing thought, but I'm not giving up hope, and we're going to continue trying to climb as the seasons go on. I'm hoping that with a continued effort, we can improve our skills enough this season to hopefully get a Gladiator title in the first season of the War Within, when participation is usually a little bit higher. If you have any thoughts...
I have a thought for you, Erradic Gaming. Have your teammates reroll to Boomkin and DH. That would probably be a good start. You guys will get 2400 like tomorrow, probably, I think. If they played Resto Shaman, Boomy, DH, I'm pretty sure that starts at like 2400 tomorrow when you log in, don't you think? I think so. I don't know what's better. Oh, look at this guy. Last chance climbing. Yeah, Boomkin, Demo Lock. That's pretty good too, I think. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Boomy DH, like you make a new character and you just log in and you're 2400 if you play that comp. I think so. That'd be a good bet. I mean, what are they playing right now? Frost, DK, and Devoker? Yeah, just have the Devoker play Boomy. Or get his Boomy friend and then just play DH. Slam it. Yeah, LFG 3s, that'd be rough. That's a rough territory. But what he's got right now is actually like really nice. I know that he sounds like he says he's like struggling, but having a consistent group of people to play with, even if you're like getting farmed by glads, if you guys like just keep your head up and learn from those games, I mean that's like the ideal situation. When you have friends that you can log into in Q3s consistently with, like that's the best. That's the best thing in WoW. So he's just got to kind of hang in there a little bit. But, keep providing the feedback and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome that he's got people to play with.
What you like about PvP or what you think is wrong with PvP right now, please let me know down in the comments.
Solid video. I mean, these are all, it's interesting. Like, it's nice to hear from this person's perspective, right? Like, hardcore, hard stuck duelist. You know, he didn't seem like a bad player when I was like watching his VODs or anything like that. Seems super solid.
Hard.
It's someone who actually this is someone who actually wants to improve.
Such a funny way to say that.
You know what I mean? He's a duelist. He wants to improve. He wants to get glad. He's trying to push, and you know that you would hope there's more people in the game that are like this, right? Like I don't know how. This is not a good. I'm gonna do a still frame where his eyes are.
I would still say, no matter what, like we were saying a second ago, the best thing you can do is to get more people involved in the PvP game. Even if it's against their will, make the PvEers come get something nice from PvP. It makes a big difference. You know, the funny thing is, I'm like 1600, but I don't know. I hear hard stuck duelist is hilarious. Yeah, I don't know why he keeps saying that about himself. Bro, you're pumping. You're a gladiator in training. You're not a hard stuck duelist. But I would say when you open the video with this, like, I've been hard stuck duelist for 7 seasons. It's like, oh my god, this dude going through it right now.
It's not closed.
Pretty funny though.
There we go.
You got this, bro. I'm rooting for you, man.
Wrangler, thank you for the prime. Chatty,
I'm
thank
rooting
you for
for
the
you.
prime. We need more people like this, you know, like there needs to be more people like this that
I
are
agree.
playing.
Committed
And
to the grind.
hearing some of the issues that they have, I think these are issues that a lot of us have brought up many times.
Yeah, I think MMR being
crazy.
I think MMR being compressed because of less participation season 2 and 3 due to like SOD and Plunderstorm, all just whatever, you know. I think that makes it rough to push when they don't do some sort of like artificial MMR inflation to sort of counteract the reduced participation. It's kind of tough. Calling himself a hardstuck duelist basically invalidates any of the hardstuck duelists get good type comments off the rip. I mean, yeah, true, I guess that's right. Yeah, if you sort of like embrace the sort of self-deprecation or whatever, yeah, true.
It being kind of complicated to get into, but
I love seeing this. People who are
also
new
say that I
grinding. That's so
there
good.
are these issues. I think most of the issues that I have in the game right now are like systems issues. It's not the actual gameplay, because like people complain about class balance, but I actually believe that class balance is some of the best it's been right now. I think like pretty much every spec is okay and has something it can play and do well with. With the exception of maybe a few, which is rare, right? Like I think class balance is
always
actually
something
better than
add-ons are the biggest entry one arenas have. Again, you can absolutely get started playing arena without add-ons, and as you sort of realize what information you need to have, or as you like watch streams of high-rated players, like, oh, it'd be really nice to have that information given to me, then I would start getting those add-ons personally. But and again, the reason why I'm giggling about Hearts of Duels, this is a funny thing to say. I don't think I'm like so good at the game. I think that like anytime I take a break from the game, I'm like terrible. I think that I have to play a lot to get good, and I don't think I've like been getting good for a long time. I think I'm just like, I just play the game and have fun. But that's kind of like, it's actually better for me right now to play the game and just have fun and not stress about rating and just kind of just goof around and focus on like making fun content and stuff like that. Because yeah, taking the game really seriously can definitely, like, anytime you take like competition seriously, it can like kind of be frustrating when you're not succeeding the way you want to. But it's just a funny thing to say. I'm not laughing at him because I'm like so good. He's like such a noob. And obviously the comments about falling off are completely not genuine. It's just MMR is a little bit compressed. But yeah, I think playing the game for fun is kind of where I'm at. But playing the game to improve and sort of feeling like you're improving, but not seeing the results in the things that you're looking for, like rewards, is frustrating for sure.
Oh, thank you, Pluckies.
Yep.
I think class balance is actually better than it has been in a long time. Like so many specs are valuable right now. The gameplay is actually fun, but a lot of these systems are issues.
Okay.
And I think it's important to recognize that, and I think, you know, if some of that stuff gets fixed, it'll be a massive improvement to the game, you know? So yeah, I like this video.
All right. I like your video too.